What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode review for Summertime Rendering. This is episode 21, and with me, as always, I have Bluespit.
Mm-hmm. Uh, we pick up right after the events of the last episode, after Hizuru's death. Of course, Shinpei is, I guess, mourning on the beach, with Sato informing him on what to do about Hizuru, stating whether or not they should even cover up her death or just pretty much announce what really happened. And Shinpei, I guess, wants to just put it all out there that it should be ruled as a murder, and just pretty much that just let it all out there, I guess. And there seems to be instances where Shinpei is predicting certain things, like he knows that there's a lightning strike about to happen, and we know that because he's transferred Ryunosuke's data to Shinpei. It's obvious that Ryunosuke has some amount of control over Shinpei's body, or is assisting in some way.
Yeah, and we also know that apparently he can see things 5 seconds into the future, which I guess explains why he was able to know there's going to be a lightning strike.
Wasn't it 2 seconds into the future?
I guess so. I guess it was 2 seconds. Yeah, you're right. 2 seconds.
Yeah. Most of this, I guess, the first half of the episode was more character development, featuring So and Mio. So and Mio. Of course, So is feeling guilt over what happened, and he feels like that he's not really contributing as much with him believing that he's letting Shinpei take all the weight in his shoulders, and he feels like he should contribute a little bit more. And then it gets to the point where he feels like he needs to confess to Mio about how he feels about her. Of course, we see Mio walking into the room, and it comes into a comedic moment where Mio comes out and says "Oh, I'm the shadow Mio," when in reality she's not. And, and so of course finally confesses to her, but unfortunately Mio doesn't return those feelings toward him. And then it follows up to another scene in which Mio goes to the rooftop with Shinpei, and she finally tells him she loves her. I don't want to say. Okay, let me start. So, she comes up to the room.
Yeah,
I'm getting
that she loves him. Yeah. Yeah. But of course, as we know, Shinpei doesn't return those feelings. He's in love with Ushio. And it was kind of interesting just to see that he apparently was aware of her feelings and is not, at least like other anime protagonists, in which they would not seem to be aware of such things. But of course, the reason why she confesses to him is because she's convinced that, as we know, they're all pretty much aware at this point that if they die, it could potentially be permanent, because it seems like Shinpei cannot loop anymore. So they wouldn't be able to, she wouldn't be able to do things over again and confess to him. Which is why, she tries to do so now, because she thinks she's going to die the next day. But yeah, of course, it plays out how I think everybody expected it to. And Shinpei pretty much just confirms what we all suspected, which is, he's in love with Ushio. But
and of course, Mio does get a little bit upset about this, and but of course she's glad that she's able to get that out of her chest. I mean, she wouldn't have gotten it out if it wasn't, for, her shadow counterpart pretty much, I guess, encouraging her to do this in the first place. So it moves on to the second half of the episode, in which Shinpei is asked about, well, we finally get maybe a few answers in regards to Shide's, how Shide is able to copy himself of sorts. It's revealed that he was able to preserve, I guess, the dead bodies of his his previous incarnations, and and then transfer his data into them. like acting like if he's alive, like by possessing those other bodies, even though they're technically dead.
Yeah, it's a little bit convoluted, honestly. But yeah, we basically learned that I guess those bodies were left preserved. And of course we get some answers as to what is going on with the shell that Shinpei has. He basically explains through like a flow chart on a black or like a whiteboard to everybody that basically two Ushios have existed at the same time during the other loops. There was the Ushio that is drifting in the ocean, which was the one that was that tried to save the Kofune girl. She's been adrift in the ocean, and she's the one that shows up at the festival. And then there's the one that's been looping with Shinpei, that I guess is contained, or her memories at least are contained within the shell. And that's also why Shide left when they were about to, Shide could have just killed Shinpei because he sensed Ushio there. So that's why he backed off during the last episode. But yeah, essentially like there's the Ushio that's in the ocean, and then there's the one that I guess was looping with Shinpei. And the shell also can sense where I guess Ushio's current whereabouts and where she is in the ocean. And the shell will vibrate, and if he removes it from himself, the shell like vibrates and will point to, I guess, what direction she's currently adrift in the sea.
Yeah, so we finally move on to the 24th, which is the day of the festival, and Shide and of course what was it? Well, Shinpei. Well, I mean, I don't know why Heine is still. No. Heine is still like like in the form of Shinpei, even though like we know it's Heine. I mean, they're discussing about like not Mio, Ushio's where about somewhere like I guess somewhere in the current like in the bay or wherever she is, and then they take steps to go after her. Well, like at the same time, like we do see a conversation between Nezu and Ryunosuke taking over Shinpei's body. I don't know if Shinpei is even aware that
I'm a bit confused about how this works too, because am I to believe that there are two Shinpeis at the same time? Because there's the Shinpei that's currently adrift in the ocean looking for Ushio, and then there's the one that's talking to Nezu that's technically Ryunosuke.
Well, I think this might have happened before Shinpei goes out to the ocean to look.
Yeah, we did in the beginning of the episode see like Ryunosuke, I guess, take control of his body, and I guess to indicate when he's in control of Shinpei is when he covers one of his eyes, I suppose.
Yeah, that's definitely a good indication as to why, as we can tell that that it's Ryunosuke taking over Shinpei's body, is because he covers up Shinpei's left eye, and then the right eye is of course the shadow eye.
I guess maybe it works because I mean technically, I guess Ryunosuke is a shadow, so he could copy Shinpei. So it could be similarly to how Hizuru copied Shinpei, where he just copies him, and he's and he can just basically be another copy of Shinpei walking around. I guess that's how it works, which again just makes things just so much, a little bit more, just so much more confusing, because now technically like there would be like three Shinpeis walking around, because there's the one that Heine is in control of, and then there's the I guess the one that Ryunosuke is in control of. I guess somebody that's read the manga can correct me if I'm wrong about that, but that's the way I see it right now, because there's the there's, as we know, there's the other one in the ocean too. So I don't know, it'd be kind of funny if we see that in the next episode, just all three of them at once. That's just, I can't help but think of like the Spider-Man meme where they're all just pointing at each other.
Yeah.
Which one's the real one?
Yeah. So we finally get back to where I guess Shinpei is looking out looking for Ushio's body. Well, yeah, the second Ushio's body out in sea, and we see Shide. I guess like he sent like his second copy out to, I guess, to look for her, and just when he was about to reach her, Shinpei's able to finally reach her first. I guess like well, initially like they couldn't sense where Shinpei is because he's like similar to like how Shide is doing it. He's wearing like a shadow armor, like pretty much Shadow is like pretty much encasing Shinpei to block Heine from from sensing him. So Shinpei is able to reunite with Ushio, and then is able to use the seashell that he has in his possession to transfer all of the memories from the previous Ushio into this Ushio. And now like Ushio is of course like finally back with all of her memories again, and now she's able to repel Shide and destroy several of the other shadows that were following him. So that's pretty much where the episode ends.
So basically, the seashell, I guess, containing Ushio's memories, like merged with the Ushio in this current loop. So before that, she had no real memories of what happened in previous loops. Now she knows. So yeah, now of course she's back. So it's kind of what I thought would happen. Ushio came back.
Yeah, I didn't even really think about it at first that there was still the second Ushio that was still drifting around somewhere in sea. Initially, I thought it was like it has something to do with Shinpei's right eye that he still has in his possession. But I guess like with the explanation that that the Ushio that's been following him, like with him dying every single time, kind of makes sense. And and there was technically like the actual like Ushio that was still drifting out in sea, so it made a lot more sense that way. What I still can't figure out is like how Shide's ability technically works. I mean, they tried explaining it, but it's still a little bit convoluted at times.
Yeah, I mean, also what confuses me is they're also with Shide as well. There seems to be like two of him technically, because there's the one that gets killed, and then there's the other one, the one that got killed in the previous loops, and then there's another one walking around as well that is the one that can wear the shadow armor. And I guess that's I don't know. It's just and then of course how they say there's also other bodies of him of his previous I guess the body when he used to or what I don't know, like the other bodies he that are being stored, I guess, in the wherever they are being preserved.
It's because I don't know how that even works, because I would have imagined like his previous selves would have aged out and died at this point, unless he's able to keep them preserved in some way. But it's not, there's not really a good explanation as to how.
I'm not even sure if he does. Like I'm guessing he grows old and dies, or he lives out a typical human life and then just I don't know. I guess it depends on when he decides, or because it seems like from, well, at least what we know from the first time he did this, he seemed to be like the age he is now when he impregnated Heine with his I guess his clone. So I'm not sure how that. I guess I'm wondering, like, I guess maybe after he grows into the same age, then I'm not sure how it works. They I don't know if they really go into all that, like how he does that. Yeah, I don't know. It's there's some things about the series, like I feel like it just is pretty convoluted and is kind of hard to really wrap your head around how all of it works, especially the stuff with Shide.
I think they do. I think they're doing a pretty decent job at trying to explain certain things of how certain thing works, like how Shinpei's looping ability works. They even try to explain it in detail on how it works. It's just not him teleporting back. Mm-hmm. It's just his consciousness being sent back in time into his past self is the explanation in this episode. Yeah,
because they do mention the thing with his consciousness going through the different loops. But yeah, so I thought it was a pretty good episode, and it's a pretty good build up, I guess, to the I suppose what's going to be the climax of the series. but I don't really have too much else to say about it. I'm still a little bit like, yeah, I mean, it's still a little bit interested to know how exactly like the thing with Ryunosuke works as well. Like, and if there is actually gonna, like, technically, if you think about it, like 3 of Shinpei walking around. I'm kind of interested to see if that's going to be confirmed in the next episode.
Well, I mean, hopefully we'll find out. I mean, we only have like 3 episodes left.
Yeah.
With, you know, pretty much coming by the end of the month, and hopefully we'll get some information on whether or not this will be on Disney Plus pretty soon. I mean, I'm certain it will.
It's it will be, but I'm very curious as to how they're going to handle that. But yeah, I don't know if you have anything else to say about it.
Yeah, it was a decent episode. I like they did it like a decent job at, you know, at exposition in this episode, in which how they really explained how Shinpei's, you know, looping ability actually worked, and you know, and the instance of how, you know, they could bring back Ushio in a certain way. But it's just the whole Shide thing is still the most confusing aspect of, you know, about how his abilities work. I mean, I would have been just fine with him just being like reincarnated over and over again, but this just them throwing in how he clones himself is just it's kind of a little bit confusing at times.
I honestly feel like reincarnation would have been a much simpler explanation, as opposed to this whole like him just kind of rebirthing himself over and over again in a way, like where he's just impregnating Heine and he's giving birth to his clone, and then somehow preserving his previous incarnations into the same age as, you know, who he is right now. But it's not clear like how he does it though. Yeah,
unless there's an explanation. Is like they explain that he doesn't age at a certain point, but they didn't.
Yeah, that's
really
what I'm curious about. Like, if he actually lives like a typical human life, and then he just moves on to the next body, or his consciousness moves to the next body. I'm not sure, but yeah. But yeah, that all being said, guys, until next time, we will see you all later.